Hello, this is Dan. Let's talk about Moderna and BioNTech. First of all, I'd like to mention that I'm sticking to my original target for Moderna to be between 150 to 170 and BioNTech to be between 120 and 140 by the end of March 2021. Of course, the price will be subject to short-term technical fluctuations. If you have been watching my previous videos on Moderna and BioNTech, you know that I've been watching very carefully the daily new COVID cases at UK and Israel. In the United Kingdom, they have more than 9.5% of the population vaccinated with either the first or second dose, primarily with the Pfizer vaccine, and recently they also started vaccinating people with the Moderna vaccine. This is the latest chart, which is great news. As you can see, the new case counts in the last 2-3 weeks have been going down fairly steadily. What helped them, in addition to the vaccines, was the fact that they started to put the country in a very restrictive lockdown mode starting January 5th of this year. And that certainly helped, especially for people who just got the first shot before the immunity start to develop, which will typically take about 10 to 14 days. They need to be very careful in terms of keeping the safe social distance as well as wearing masks. And that's why the lockdown very much helped together with the vaccines. If you look at Israel, so far they have 38% of the population vaccinated with either the first or second dose. And they've been using primarily the Pfizer vaccine. If you look at their chart, they started a little bit late as far as reducing the case count, but in the last 5-6 days, we also see a fairly steady decrease. And coincidentally, they started to put the country in a very severe lockdown mode since January 7th, and that also helped in addition to the vaccine. Other significant events include on January 22nd, the Bank of America Securities boosted the price target on Moderna from $130 to $140 a share. Also, the phase 1/2 trial of Moderna vaccine started in Japan, which will probably go pretty fast as far as confirmation and approval, and after that it will most likely lead to the sales of the Moderna vaccine to Japan, which has 127 million people. That'll be quite a big chunk of new business for Moderna. Pfizer and BioNTech agreed to supply 40 million doses to a program led by the World Health Organization to supply the less developed countries with the vaccine at not-for-profit price. A few days ago, we heard that there were concerns about severe allergic reaction to a particular batch of Moderna vaccines, and that concern has been dispelled, and that's why the pause has been lifted, which is great news for Moderna. More significant events: Lebanon made the deal for 2.1 million doses of Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine, and Pfizer and BioNTech said they would limit the delay of their vaccine deliveries to just 1 week. And that delay has pretty much been overcome at this point. We don't hear a lot about it in the last few days. SimplyWallStreet.com said the analysts just made a significant upgrade to their BioNTech forecasts. So far, there's no indication that Moderna and BioNTech vaccines are not effective against the UK and South Africa mutations. That's good news. Let's compare the different vaccines currently available on the market. According to a recent article by the BBC News, the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine is reported to be 50% effective after the first dose and 95% effective after the second dose. There's this health organization by the name of Clalit. They said, based on the Israel data, the BioNTech vaccine is only about 33% effective after the first dose. But that allegation has been debated in the scientific community. It really depends on how the people receiving the first dose of vaccine reacted the few days right after getting the shot, because if they're not careful, they can still be infected. I still believe that the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine is 50% effective or better after the first dose. As far as the Moderna vaccine, it's 80.2% effective after the first dose and 95.6% effective after the second dose. The AstraZeneca vaccine is 64.1% effective after the first dose and between 70 to 90% effective after the second dose. And then the Sinovac vaccine is a 2-dose vaccine. It's being tested in several countries. For example, Turkey said the vaccine is 91.25% effective, but Indonesia said it's only 65.3% effective, and Brazil said it's only 50.4% effective. Another vaccine by China, Sinopharm, again, is a 2-dose vaccine. The UAE said that it's 86% effective. The Russian Gamaleya Sputnik vaccine is supposed to be 91.4% effective by its own manufacturer. Here's my own comment. The traditional flu vaccines are generally known to be only 40 to 60% effective, and that's why the performance of the BioNTech and Moderna vaccines at 95% are really, truly impressive. And those two vaccines from Moderna and BioNTech are indeed the best defense against COVID-19 at this point. And that's why I'm bullish about Moderna stock and the BioNTech stock. Before we move on, I will very much appreciate if you can click on the like, subscribe, and notification button for the sake of the YouTube algorithm. Let's continue. As far as the catalysts that'll move the price up or down, the bullish catalysts include additional contracts for the vaccines or reduction in daily new COVID cases in the UK, Israel, United States, and other developed countries where they have high number of people vaccinated. As we already saw, we have very good progress in UK and Israel already. And if there's any failure of other vaccines in development, that'll be bullish for Moderna and BioNTech. Bearish catalysts include if the vaccines are less effective against new virus mutations. So far, we haven't seen any sign in that direction yet, which is great. Or if there's any supply chain problems, or the success of other less expensive vaccines, or any severe allergic reaction to the vaccines. So far, we definitely see many new contracts getting signed for both the Moderna vaccine and the BioNTech vaccine. And also we see the reduction in cases in UK and Israel. These are all very good signs. Let's look at the valuation of the two companies quickly. I did the valuation of Moderna in my December 16 video. If you're interested, you can refer back to that video in my channel. And I did the BioNTech valuation in my January 4th video. You can refer back to that video as well. I compare my pricing targets with the forecast from several websites, including Yahoo Business, Louis Navellier, tipranks.com, and cnnmoney.com. Overall, their ratings are pretty much in the same ballpark with my estimates. They generally rate Moderna and BioNTech as either a buy or a moderate buy. Let's look at the chart and get into technical analysis. First, we start with the Moderna daily chart. In the last 2-3 weeks, we see this nice upward trending channel. The price is now steadily heading up to my target range of $150 to $170 a share, although there will be a very strong resistance here at 144. The price will have to overcome this resistance before it can get into my target range. Let's look at the different technical indicators to see which one works best for Moderna on a daily chart. I usually look at the candlestick signals, the Bollinger Bands, RSI signal, DMI indicator, and MACD indicator. For candlestick signals, I usually look at the engulfing signal, the 3 outside up or 3 outside down candlestick signal, or the thrusting pattern, the zigzag step pattern, or the Marubozu pattern. If you look at the chart here from the left side, we started out with a bullish signal from the DMI indicator, but then soon after that it was countered by a bearish engulfing candlestick signal. And then we saw a buy signal from MACD, neutralizing the bearish candlestick signal. And then we saw a warning sign from the RSI indicator showing an overbought situation. And pretty much at the same time, we saw this bearish engulfing candlestick pattern. And incidentally, at that point, the candlestick was way above the Bollinger Band, and that's why the Bollinger Band also put resistance on the price. And that's why the price dropped during that one day. And then a few days later, we saw another bearish engulfing signal. Finally, that started to bring down the price. And then 2-3 days later, we saw the bearish confirmation from MACD, another bearish signal on the candlestick pattern the thrusting pattern, confirmed by a bearish DMI sell signal, another bearish thrusting signal, until the downward trend started to turn around and confirmed by this zigzag step pattern, and that started the upward trend here. Later on, it was confirmed by this buy signal from DMI and a buy signal from MACD. Let's look at the hourly chart from Moderna. As you can see, in the last 2-3 days, the volatility of Moderna covered a range of about 11% delta. And that's why if you're good with swing trading, it's really worth the effort. Let's start with the left side of the chart. We started out with a bullish signal from MACD, confirmed here by a buy signal from DMI, and then we saw this warning sign from RSI showing the overbought situation, and soon the price, instead of going up, started to go down a little bit. And then it was confirmed by the sell signal from MACD a few hours after the price peaked out. I won't go into details with the candlestick patterns because they're not as helpful when it comes to the hourly chart for Moderna. Had you been following the DMI signal, MACD signal, as well as RSI indicator, you would be doing pretty well. Let's look at the 15-minute chart for Moderna. We started out with a bearish signal from MACD, also bearish signal from DMI, and then finally MACD issued a buy signal, and that's when the price started to go up. It was confirmed about 15 minutes later by the buy signal from DMI. And then the price started to turn around, and it was confirmed by the sell signal from MACD. And then 30 minutes later, we saw the sell signal from DMI. And then the price started to turn around and was confirmed simultaneously by the buy signal from both DMI and MACD. And then we saw this sell signal from DMI. The price started to go down, confirmed by the sell signal from MACD, although that signal came a little bit late because at that point the price already bottomed out. And I won't spend much time on the candlestick patterns because they are not too helpful for the 15-minute chart. You can look at it later on, do a screenshot of this if you like. Let's look at BioNTech, the daily chart. As you can see, in the last 2-3 weeks, we also have this nice upward trending triangle. At this point, it's approaching my target range of 120 to 140, but there's a very strong resistance at this point, which is 109. Hopefully the price will get over this point, and that way it will continue to go towards my target range. Again, let's look at the candlestick patterns as well as RSI, DMI, and MACD indicators. On the left side, we start out with a bullish signal from DMI, confirmed with the bullish ADX crossover candlestick and the bullish MACD signal. The price continued to go up for a couple of days, and then we saw this warning signal from RSI indicating it's an overbought situation. Then the price started to go down, confirmed simultaneously by DMI and MACD with their sell signals. Then we saw a buy signal from DMI. The price started to pick up, confirmed by this ADX crossover bullish signal. We saw the bullish confirmation of MACD, which came a little bit late. And then the price went up and started to turn around. This is a Williams fractal. Usually Williams fractal is not a very good indicator. However, that was the only thing that showed that the price was turning around at that point. And then after 2-3 hours, we saw this bullish engulfing signal that allowed the price to continue to go up after this signal. And finally, we saw this bearish engulfing signal, and the price started to go down. Then it was confirmed by the sell signals from DMI and MACD. Then the price went down for quite a few days until it started to turn around. And then we saw the buy signals from DMI and MACD. And then we saw this 3 outside down signal that stopped the increase of the price. After that point, the price started to go sideways. And then a couple of days later, we saw this bullish engulfing signal. In the meanwhile, we saw this kind of weak sell signal from DMI and then a weak buy signal from DMI. These two are pretty much noises to me. And overall, it looks like if you have been following the MACD signal, you'd have been doing pretty well. Let's look at the hourly chart for BioNTech. We see the delta in the last 2-3 days to the tune of 5%, and that's why it'll be worthwhile if you're good at doing swing trading. We started out with the bullish signals from both DMI and MACD. Then we saw this bearish engulfing signal. The price started to go down a little bit. Later on, it was confirmed by the sell signal from MACD. And then it turned bullish by way of this Marubozu candlestick pattern, as well as the buy signal from MACD. The price went up for a few hours, then finally it peaked out, and we saw this long candlestick, red candlestick. Somehow the Thinkorswim software rated that as a Williams fractal, but that certainly looks like an engulfing pattern to me. Had I been doing day trading, I would have sold when I saw this big red candle. And sure enough, the price continued to go down in the next few hours. It was finally confirmed by this bearish thrusting candlestick signal. By then it was a bit late already, and then it was confirmed by this MACD sell signal. And then finally the price started to turn around as confirmed by this bullish engulfing signal and bullish 3 outside up signal again, and we finally saw this buy signal from MACD. Finally the price peaked out at this point, and we saw this RSI warning sign showing that the stock might be overbought. The price indeed started to go down in the last 2 hours in this chart. Let's look at a 15-minute chart. On the left side, we started out with the bearish signals from DMI and MACD. As you can see, the price is going sideways with a little bit of a downward trend. And then finally, it started to pick up at this point, and we saw the buy signals from DMI and MACD. The price then started to go up. At this point, we saw the warning sign from RSI showing an overbought situation. Then the price started to go sideways a little bit. Again, another warning sign here. And then finally, we were hit with this bearish Marubozu candlestick. Then we saw this bearish confirmation from MACD. Again, I like to repeat that I am holding on to my target of Moderna being at $150 to $170. And BioNTech at $120 to $140 by the end of March 2021. I'm still very upbeat about these two stocks. Of course, the price will be subject to short-term technical fluctuations. Before I post my next video, I'll be posting update notes below this video like that. If you like, I very much appreciate if you can click on the like button, subscribe, and notification button. Also, if you have a couple minutes, please fill out a survey below this video to let me know what kind of topics you would like me to cover in my next few videos. I will welcome any comments, questions, or suggestions from you. Thank you so much for watching all the way to here. I'd like to mention that I'm not a financial advisor. I show my trading strategies for educational purpose only. You should formulate your own ideas on buying or selling financial assets and should consult with your financial advisors before you do so. This wraps up my video for now. I will chat with you again in the next few days. In the meanwhile, I'd like to wish you the best of luck with your financial investment.